My father didn't ask why the confiscator wanted me to be there, and he didn't ask what would happen to either or both of us if I were elsewhere on the appointed morning. Instead, he asked the confiscator a few questions about color, texture, and adornment, and then recorded the order in his big ledger. When the stranger left, I came out from behind the supply shelves. My father placed a hand on my head and patted me softly. He didn't say, "That man is of no importance," because it would have been a lie, and my father was not a liar. Instead, he murmured a snippet of scripture, referring to the miracle of sight and the clarity of spiritual vision. Then he picked me up and put me on his workbench and kissed my nose, before giving me scraps to play with as he began to ply the leather, making it supple with the caress of his tools. I knew that the confiscator was a bad man. I knew that my father hated and feared him, but it was only later that I understood that he was a bringer of nightmares, a kidnapper. History, religion, and politics had conspired to make him such. What did a little girl know of such subjects? But my father was wise, nothing like his ignorant and innocent daughter. And that is why a tear came to his eye as he tucked an errant lock of hair into my gargouche when we left the shop that afternoon. He knew what I was to learn in the coming years, that his lungs were weak and his health fragile, and that as a consequence, I was in danger of being stolen away from my faith and family. History, politics, religion. I dipped my stylus in the dark mists of time. The confiscator worked for Imam Yahya. Imam Yahya wrested power from the Turks and had become ruler of the Kingdom of North Yemen in 1918, the year of my birth. My family and all the Yemenite Jews dreaded the Imam's many decrees. The day the confiscator first came to my father's stall, I couldn't have told you a lick about politics. But I could have reported how often my father and brothers came home stinking like shit, death, and piss, because they had been conscripted to carry dung, cart off sewage, and haul animal carcasses. The Imam's dung carriers decree relegated Jews to the jobs of refuse and carrion collectors. The donkey decree forbade the Jews of the north from riding horses. Instead, my father's brothers and our friends could ride only donkeys, and they couldn't even ride our donkey, Pish-Tish, like hearty men. Instead, they were forced to ride side saddle, which limited their ability to travel. There was also the house decree, which forbade us from building our houses as tall as the houses of our Muslim neighbors, and the walker's decree, which forbade us from walking on the same side of the street as a Muslim. But the worst by far of all the Imam's decrees was the one that brought a tear to my father's eye the day the confiscator paid us a visit. The orphan's decree. It called for any orphaned Jewish child to be confiscated, converted, and quickly adopted by a Muslim family if a father died. This meant that Jewish children were ripped out of the arms of newly widowed mothers. That's why the confiscator had lingered in my father's stall, because of my father's cough. The confiscator had a quota to fill. Perhaps he had heard that the shoemaker was sickly. Perhaps he had had his eye on me for a long time already. That night my parents fought. My father banged his fist on the breadboard and growled, "You must engage, Adela. The bastard came to my stall sniffing around for children to put in his pocket. It is your duty as her mother to find her a husband." I was the youngest of 9, the only girl, and my mother's last and least favored child. I was a bitter afterthought, a thorn in the side of my mother's old